Mr. President, some regard you as an international pariah, a dictator with blood on your hands. Give me an argument for why you are not, when in the past 7 years, hundreds of thousands of Syrians have been killed, arrested, imprisoned, and even tortured.
So the story that you're talking about, or let's say the Western narrative, that this is bad president, he's killing his own people, and the whole world is against him because he's international pariah, but he's been in his position for 7 years, while he's fighting everyone in this world. Can we convince your readers about this story? It doesn't even hold together. I mean, the different factor of this narrative, it doesn't, it's not logical, it's not realistic. So this president is in his position because he has support of his own people. So how could he have this support while he's killing the same people? So the story is not correct. We are fighting the terrorists, and those terrorists supported by the British government, the French government, and the American, and their puppets, whether in Europe or in our region. And we are fighting them, and we have public support in Syria to fight those terrorists. That's why we are advancing. We cannot make these advances just because we have Russian and Iranian support. They cannot substitute the popular support. And the proof of what I'm talking about, Shah of Iran, the Western puppets, he couldn't withstand the backlash of the public Iranians, and he collapsed, the whole system collapsed in a few weeks, and he had to flee his country. So,
despite having support of many Syrians, the fact remains that there are thousands, tens of thousands of people that were killed and have been imprisoned.
Of course, you're talking about the war. There's no good war. There's no peaceful war. That's why war is bad. So when you talk about war, the natural and the self-evident result is death and blood everywhere. But the question, who started this war and who supported this war? The West. The West supported the war from the very beginning, and he supported the terrorists who started exploding everywhere and killing everyone and beheading, and he supported Al-Qaeda. The West supported Al-Qaeda. So it's not enough to say there's killing. Of course there's killing. That's self-evident. But who started? The West is responsible, first of all.
The West is responsible, but some also say that Mr. Assad, or President Assad, should bear responsibility as well.
Any Syrian could bear responsibility because of what's happening in Syria. That's another issue. This is a Syrian issue. We don't discuss it with the West. It's not the role of the West to tell us who's responsible in Syria, the president or the government or the army or the terrorists. This is Syrian issue. We decide who. The West is in no position to tell us. But at the end, it's not his role, but he interfered in a sovereign country and is responsible of the killing in our country, regardless of his narrative and his lies.
Russia appears to be making a lot of decisions about Syria, whether about foreign troops withdrawing, to deals being struck with Israel over southern Syria, to which weapons you may or may not have. Does Russia now make your decisions?
Russia is fighting for the international law. And part of this international law, the sovereignty of different countries, of the sovereign countries. Syria is one of them. Their politics, their behavior, their values is not about interfere or dictate. They don't. We've had good relations with Russia for more than 6 decades now, nearly 7 decades. They never, during our relation, try to dictate, even if there's differences. And because there's war and because there's high dynamism in our region, it's natural to have differences between the different parties, whether within our government or with other governments. Russia, Syria, Syria, Iran, Iran, Russia, and within these governments, that's very natural. But at the end, the only decision about what's going on in Syria and what's going to happen, it's Syrian decision, mainly by the Syrian government. No one should have any doubt about this, regardless of the statements that you may hear, because I know on which base the question is.
Based on various statements.
Exactly.
So why has Russia not given you the S-300 they promised for years at a time when Israel is striking Syria practically every week? And why is Russia coordinating these strikes, targets, behind the scenes with your enemies?
Russia never coordinated with anyone against Syria, either politically or militarily, and that's contradiction. How could they help the Syrian army advancing and at the same time work with our enemies in order to destroy our army?
But they usually know in advance where the attacks are going to happen.
No,
Therefore,
that's not true. That's not true.
Okay.
That's definitely we know the details. Regarding the S-300, why they announced it and then they stop talking about it, you'd better ask the Russian officials. It's a political statement. They have their own tactics. But whether they send it or they're going to send it or not, this is military issue. We don't talk about it.
Your wife is British and you've lived in London for many years. Is there anything in particular that you miss from your days there?
Definitely. I lived in London. I learned as a doctor. It's impossible for you to live in a city and you don't feel there's a special link with that city or with the people that you work with on a daily basis. So you miss maybe this relation. But it is sometimes in contradiction that the same city that you like is the same country that's been attacking your country, which is not good.